Hello and welcome to Bleeding Rainbow Comics for one of our last videos of the year. Thank you all for being with us for the past few months as we have gotten our channel up and going and everybody that has supported us along the way. Today, of course, we are breaking down our top 5 movies of 2024, some of which we got to share with you, and some of us, unfortunately, we didn't have a channel when they premiered. So it'll be interesting to actually get to talk to you guys a little bit about, those projects. And some of this, if you've seen other videos, you might already know what we're going to say about certain ones. But yeah, go ahead, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And are we ready?
I'm ready.
So number 5, I'm going to have you go first. What do you have in your 5th spot?
If.
Imaginary Friends?
Yes.
All right, so we have Ryan Reynolds' Imaginary Friends movie. What do you like about it? Why is it your coveted 5th spot?
I mean, we've been toying around with ideas in our own comic books about an imaginary friend character.
No spoilers.
And also, I don't know, it's nostalgia-y because Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was my favorite cartoon growing up. So it was just like a live action of that almost.
I will agree. I think that they did it pretty well. I think that it was written pretty well also. I cared about the characters. And one thing that's really hard in a movie is having the main character be a child and having adult viewers feel something during the movie, because a lot of times that doesn't quite work. A little harder to relate to a child.
I mean, granted,
not for you, but
just seeing the previews before the movie came out, I had already called it that, spoilers, Ryan Reynolds was an imaginary friend, but it was still a great movie, even though I kind of already knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, I really liked it. This was Ryan Reynolds' year.
Yeah.
And John Krasinski also did a pretty good job in that movie, which was really nice because I personally have not seen much of The Office myself. I know, cue the gasp. And so most of what I've actually seen from John Krasinski is like the Quiet Place movies and stuff like that. So it was nice for me to see like this completely 180 side of him. And he's really funny. I wish he was actually in more goofy type stuff. And he played a really good dad. I know he is one and all of that good stuff. But he plays a good one in movies. I can't speak to his real experiences. Anything else you would like to say about If?
No, just it was a really good movie, and it just brought a lot of nostalgia, and it was just for me.
Fair enough. All right, for my number 5, I actually have a movie that I did not think that I would have on my top 5 of the year before I watched it. The only reason that I watched it was because Awkwafina is in it. I love her. John Cena is in it. Simu Liu is in it. And so the movie that I'm talking about is Jackpot. I believe it was Amazon Prime?
Yeah, and they delivered. There's a few scenes where just no matter how many times I watch it, I'm rolling.
Well, and here, my thing is, it's really hard for me as, I don't know, goofy movies just hit, not like the Goofy movie, but goofy movies are harder for me to really get on board with, just because, I don't know, I'm self-conscious and my humor isn't as poop joke as many other people's. But I think that they did a really good job. I think it's written really well. It is hysterical. And before Peacemaker, I really wasn't a fan of John Cena, but to see him come into his acting career.
He does good comedy.
He does really good comedy. And just Awkwafina, she's playing Awkwafina, and it's perfect. That's exactly what I want from Awkwafina. I never want her to be anything else. And it was also really nice to see her back with Simu Liu.
Yeah. Well, because John Cena was in another movie too. Ricky Stenicki. Mm-hmm. That didn't make it on my list, but that's my honorable mention because that was a really good movie too.
Going on to our number 4, what you got for me?
I had Inside Out too.
Interesting. That actually did not make my top 5 list.
No,
So I will let you talk about this one. I liked the movie, but you go for it. It's yours.
I loved the new characters they introduced. Um, Anxiety is hilarious, and I think it plays really well off of Joy, and it's just another character she can play off of. Um, we saw a lot more with Riley, um, just how she develops and like all the crap kids go through nowadays with all their different issues.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one scene in the movie where she's just like, "Oh, I sleepwalk now. Great." Like she knows that she has a lot of crap going on.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see a character grow in movies. I always like in media when the characters actually grow and it's not just frozen in time. So
You
it was
like it
just
when they
very
age, we'll say.
yes, yeah. It's just a very interesting movie, and I hope they make more. I want to see more emotions. I want to see love. They kind of played into Riley having crushes in this movie, and um, I don't know if it was intended. I think it was. It was very queer coded. It seemed like Riley had a crush on an older girl in the movie, and I think that's interesting. And it's refreshing that they actually went kind of that route. So I'd like to see that more, and her aged up even more, and we can be in her we can show love as
Well,
an
we
emotion.
did get to see her grown up a little bit more because I will bring this up. I also really liked Inside Out 2. It's on my honorable mention. I just didn't have it in my top 5. But we did get to see her grown up because of Dream Productions, which was
that's
another
true.
show this year,
Yes,
which was really good.
That was really
and
good.
she is living her blue-haired lesbian moment, and I'm all for
Yeah,
it.
I love it. I want to see that Riley in the
I
next
don't
movie.
see them actually going for that, but
A
much like
version of
Disney, she's
that.
going to be highly coded.
Yeah.
She's gonna be Elsa coded.
Well, they've done a lot of coding lately and thrown in a few LGBT characters that like background-esque characters in some of their movies and stuff, and they've had some like gay parents in their shows, and they had a gay character on.
I don't see that diving deeper anytime soon.
But I mean, they had a gay character on their Disney like cable. What is that one called?
Andy Mack. Disney
Yes,
Channel.
yes, Disney Channel.
But that was like forever ago.
Exactly. So it's
and then it got canceled.
Even bigger and like times have changed even more since that show. So I think that they're ready. I think they just got to make that leap.
I hope they are. They are getting consistently more pushback from it. So.
And I mean, look, Disney produced Agatha All Along. And that's like the gayest show ever.
Yeah, but that's not aimed at children.
I know.
Children and families. That was witchy women like me. And we'll get into Agatha All Along in our next video. But anything else you would like to say about Inside Out 2? I would also recommend watching Dream Productions. Yes. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Talk about queer coding. The main character of that is, or the secondary main character of that is highly queer coded. Anyways, my number 4 is actually The Fall Guy, which came out early on in the year with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. I thought it was a really good movie. I don't know, it was just funny. It was done well. It was written well. And Ryan Gosling was just coming off of Barbie, and this was like his first big thing since then. The movie itself, I don't think did great, if I can recall.
But it's also just like a little rom-com
I really
movie.
enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it too. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, I also think it's one of Aaron Taylor Johnson's better performances of the year. But yeah, it was just fun. And there wasn't a lot of fun things being released during that time, and it was a breath of fresh air. And it was just, like I said, it's something different, and something new.
Well, we watch a lot of superhero media and stuff, so that was a fresh, different thing.
So much superhero media. Y'all know. But yeah, what about number 3s?
I actually had Jackpot as my number 3.
So you liked it twice as good as I did?
Yes.
Okay.
I love Awkwafina. Anything Awkwafina, I'm like all over.
I mean, it's fair. If I would not be mad switching Jackpot and The Fall Guy on my list. Like, they're really close. Now, my top 3 are not close to anything else. They are like well above the rest. In favoritism, but that's just me. My number 3 would be 100% The Wild Robot. I think it, for me at least, it was the best animated movie of the year. I know that you like Inside Out too. We all do. But I think The Wild Robot was very good, we'll say, to say the least. It also had a really stacked cast of Kit Connor, Pedro Pascal, Lupita Nyong'o, Catherine O'Hara, and way more, Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Which and it was just...
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it was just, again, a breath of fresh air. It was something new. It was something not Disney. It was also pretty dark, and it went places that a lot of other animated theatrical movies don't go.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. It was a gorgeous movie.
It's a good parenthood movie.
Yeah. But it gave me all of the feels, and I don't know, I just really love that movie. That's probably one of my favorite animated movies now.
Well, I'm glad that Kit Connor did something other than Heartstoppers. Like that, I mean, he's doing more.
Because Joe Locke is getting everything now. He's getting all the attention, so it's nice for Kit Connor to get attention.
Kit Connor is also coming out, I believe, with a war movie, and I'm not sure when it comes out. I just know he's filming something that's like a war movie, but I actually am excited for that.
To see how he could fit into the MCU.
No, not even that. I think it's exciting that we have a star of a war movie who is LGBT.
That's fair. He is bi.
Yeah. So I just think that's exciting. Like, wow, they actually hired a LGBT actor as a main role for like a war movie. Like, it's not going to be the same. You want to know an
industry secret? All of them are gay. They just don't tell. That way conservatives will go see their movies.
Had to be. He was outed, so.
He was very pressured. Poor guy. But it's nice to see him getting publicity and getting, we'll say, recognition for things other than just really bulking up.
Yeah, it's just...
I'm nowhere near his run of Romeo and Juliet, so I will not get to see it. So it's nice to bring him to the theater. But also, that's a huge deal for him, like starring in a theatrical release.
Yeah, and I'm just excited. It's LGBT history, really, because if you think about it, because it's just an action movie.
Yeah.
And to have an LGBT actor playing a major role in an action movie is crazy.
Yeah. So back to The Wild Robot. I also just liked all of the animals, and I liked all of the discourse throughout. It's a good way to introduce relationships, and not just the relationships that children might be used to, but societal relationships. But I'm not going to talk, because I could talk Wild Robot for probably an entire video. But anyways, going on, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is actually Deadpool and Wolverine.
My number 2 is also Deadpool and Wolverine. So let's just talk about it together. I will let you start since you said it first.
I mean, we've talked this movie to death. We even have a video on YouTube about our review.
Spoiler and non-spoiler, I believe.
I just love the action sequences in this the most. It was really interesting and neat to actually see Wolverine and Deadpool, like, no limits, just allowed to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
I will say it was nice to get Wolverine in comic accurate gear. It was nice to get some old faces back. It was
and I love
controversial for some people. It was nice to get a Gambit
Yeah,
that is Channing Tatum.
We should be talking about the Henry Cavill Wolverine because that was really good too.
Variants were also pretty fun. I thought Blake Lively playing a Deadpool variant, Lady Pool, was fun. I thought Handsome Pool was also fun. That way Ryan Reynolds actually gets to look nice in his own movie for once. The hair didn't really do it for me, but his face wasn't all gross, so that was...
literally.
I also hated Dog Pool, I'm sorry.
You just think that dog's really ugly, and that's the point of it.
Yeah, I just...
But the only complaint I have about this movie is they should have had Gwenpool in it.
I agree, but maybe they have plans for her.
Well, it had also been funny because, like, they're doing the whole play off of the Deadpool family. There's Baby Pool, there's a Kid Pool, there's the mom and dad with Deadpool. It'd be funny to have an angsty teen daughter
Yeah, but
in that mix.
she's not related to Ryan
I
Reynolds,
know,
so she
but
doesn't get to have a fun role in the movie.
like I know
Um,
she's not actually a Deadpool variant or anything. She's her own character in the comics, but still, I mean, let's simplify it and just
Oh, like I said, maybe they have another plan for her. My overall favorite part of this movie was absolutely Emma Corrin's performance as Cassandra Nova.
yes.
She did such a good
Well,
job.
they did
Acting wise, her powers, her weird elongated
Yeah,
fingers.
I
She was
mean,
just a badass.
they did the way she reaches into people's minds straight from the comic books. Because that's one of my favorite runs is where she was introduced.
Yeah.
Frank Quitely is the artist on
She was slightly
that
more
issue.
gross, though.
Yeah,
Looking.
they didn't give her the long fingers. Like she looks very old and decrepit in the comic books compared to hot Cassandra Nova.
Emma Corrin says, well, thank you.
But just the way they did the powers, it was directly from the comics, and I was so excited because my favorite artist drew that comic book.
Yeah. So to see it come to life.
Yeah.
And I don't know, her relationship with literally everybody. I did not really care for her Wasteland X-Men villain team.
No,
I thought it was
kinda
okay.
weak.
It needed to be there for story wise. I did like Chris Evans as Human Torch because he is the best Johnny Storm, and nobody can convince me otherwise.
I mean, I know people would have rioted, and that's why they didn't put this in. But I saw concept art of a female Juggernaut, and I like the design
People
of it a
would've
lot.
lost their minds.
I wish that was in it, but yeah, they would have lost their minds.
But who cares? Ryan Reynolds does not. I don't know. He's actually really business savvy. He might care. But no, it was just a really fun time because I think that the biggest thing about Deadpool and Wolverine, it was the first thing that we covered that had a lot of community, and it just really blew up. And
Yeah,
so
wow.
it was really fun to interact with fans of Deadpool, interact with people that were excited about the project. And
Yeah, it was an
honestly, I think that
event.
that's how we got our first like follows was Deadpool and Wolverine, just because people were excited to talk about it.
That movie was an event too. Like we did cosplay when we went.
Yeah.
So
I was Wolverine.
and I was Deadpool.
I guess instead of a peace sign, it would be
Yeah.
3. Kebab.
But
it was just like
yeah.
you couldn't miss it. Everybody watched it. It was everywhere. It was just exciting.
And plus, you got your Johnny Storm.
I did get my Johnny Storm. I freaked the bleep out.
Because for some reason you like him better as Johnny Storm than Captain America.
I like Chris Evans better as Johnny Storm than Captain America by far. I also want Eon Grove back as Mr. Fantastic. Jessica Alba, I could take her, leave her. Michael Chiklis as the Thing. Perfect. Shouldn't have changed him. But we'll see what they do. I'm all for it, and I will never say no to Pedro Pascal being anything. He could be Sue Storm for all I care. So I would not be upset. In fact, he would probably love that. Anything else about Deadpool and Wolverine?
No, just that you need to see it if you haven't.
Now time for my honorable mentions, because, if they didn't make your top 5, they don't matter.
They don't.
Movies that I want to shout out this year that if you have not seen, you absolutely should. Like I already said, Ricky Stenicki is on my honorable mention. Inside Out 2, If Imaginary Friends. Apparently my honorable mention list is just most of your top 5. But also 3 we have not mentioned in this video that I wanted to make sure that I gave a shout out to. 1, Argyle.
That was a good movie.
I had 0 expectations for this movie, but Bryce Dallas Howard was phenomenal. I do wish that there was more Henry Cavill in it, which is why there is not in my top 5. But it was one of those movies where you honestly did not know what was coming next, because it's like somebody took drugs and then wrote it, but then they took a different drug for each scene and forgot but it worked. It was just fun.
Yeah, I mean, I usually aggravate you because I can guess the movie. Like, we'll be sitting in the movie theater and I'll just lean over and be like, this is going to happen in
I don't like
him.
But no, Argyle was just a really fun movie, and I think it deserves more love than it got, because I think it kind of went under the radar and then went on Apple TV. 2 more. I also want to shout out Mean Girls because while it wasn't a perfect adaptation to film, I think that they did a really good job. I really enjoyed everybody, unfortunately, but who they cast as Katie in Mean Girls. I think that was stunt casting just because that actress was popular from Spider Man.
So
Um,
Mean Girls didn't even.
minus the main character. I thought that I'm gonna say this wrong, but Ali'i Cravajo, who plays Moana, was a wonderful Janice. I thought her and
Oh, was she
Damien.
Moana?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, she is. That whole movie, all I could hear was emo Moana, and I honestly,
Guess that
that's why I
makes
think
sense.
I enjoyed it so much. The thing I don't think I enjoyed as much, they made the choice to make it a lot more poppy to make it more presentable to a larger audience. Which, as we've seen with Wicked, you don't actually have to do that. You can do the musical, just take it to the cinematic level instead of changing so much. And they were also, I know it was supposed to be like a Paramount Plus movie, and so that's why.
I
Um,
mean, they got my
yeah.
favorite part
Lower
right.
stakes, lower
So
budget, lower everything. Um, but yeah, you just like the sexy mouse and the corn.
I give you sexy corn.
Like I said, everybody else was perfectly cast, even Amy Adams as her mom.
Yeah, it was
But I was not a fan of Katie herself singing wise, and I think that
Mm.
that's why like one of Katie's best songs got cut from the musical because that actress couldn't.
I don't know. I mean, Mean Girls is too nostalgia for me, so it just didn't really. It didn't even make my top 10 when I was narrowing it down for
No,
our top
that's
5.
rude. As it should. It is a good movie. It is enjoyable. I've watched it more than once since its release. It's a nice sit back and just listen to the songs that you love movie. And it's just fun. It wasn't worthy of my top 5. And then finally, my last honorable mention is going to be Sonic 3. And the reason that this is probably not in my top 5 is while I admire Jim Carrey and think he is amazing, I think having two of him in the same movie, his type of humor, you have to walk a very fine line between giving enough and giving too much.
And
And I think
see,
he was just way too much in this movie. Like everything else was perfect.
I walked out of it thinking, man, I want to see some of Jim Carrey's other movies that I haven't seen in
See,
a long time. But I didn't like Sonic 3. I just
and I
like Jim
loved Sonic
Carrey.
3, but I had that same takeaway as I wanted to see more Jim Carrey
Yeah.
movies, but my reasoning was probably different than yours. Mine was I want to see Jim Carrey in his prime in better
Oh, yeah.
roles. I think he does fine as Robotnik.
Yeah, he
I
does a
just
good
think
job.
in
It's just
this
robotics
particular
annoying.
movie, it just got too ridiculous, and it was
Yeah.
hard for me to actually stay with the movie because we
mean-
kept looking at each other during the movie going, every time Robotnik and his dad or grandpa, whichever one it was.
His grandpa. But yeah, it made me feel the same way. Like I wanted to watch Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Well, after I left that movie, and I don't think a movie is supposed to be like, oh yeah, we should go look at some older work of that one actor.
I mean, that can happen for good reasons and
So-
for bad reasons. So
yeah.
it could be, wow, I enjoyed that character, or that actor's portrayal of that character so much, I'm going to consume other media to fill the void because I
Mhm.
want more. But in this case, it wasn't that. It was, I want to go see his better work. And honestly, I don't think he did that bad of a job in this movie. I just think
Yeah, he did.
there were two of him, which made it too
A lot.
much. It was too much for me.
Ooh,
but-
watch Liar Liar.
Okay. The pen was royal blue. God, that's a movie I haven't seen. We're on
Right?
2024. Got me soft tack. But Jim Carrey, I think having two of him was just too much, and I did not enjoy the storyline with that part of it. I loved Sonic, Tails, Knuckles. I loved that Wade's part in the movie was trimmed down because the Knuckles show was not good because there was too much Wade, not enough Knuckles. I know for budgetary reasons, but I didn't like the whole premise of that show. And I also love Shadow, and all of the post-credit scene have me excited.
Yeah,
I want a Sonic 4,
the way I feel about Sonic is like,
and I will say no more.
if it's
Go watch it.
on, I'll watch it, but it's not my favorite genre or by any means. I barely played Sonic when I was a kid, so maybe that's why. I don't
He's so
know.
lovable. And Tails.
I mean, yeah, when I played, I always wanted to be Tails,
I
but
always play as Tails.
it's just I haven't played since elementary school.
But now you can enjoy the best version of all of these. Most of these.
The thing I
characters.
love the most about this movie is that all of media bullied them into changing Sonic.
But they listened and they made a great movie.
I know. Look how well they turned out because of that.
If they
Could you
didn't,
have
that first movie
thought-
would have bombed, and
Yeah.
we wouldn't have
all
what we
these
have now.
movies. So good call listening to fans for once.
Yeah, and I
First and last time Hollywood has ever done that.
well, you got to swallow your ego because you got to think they spent so much time pouring themselves into the project for the internet to kind of just vomit all over it. But
They were probably, when they were done, they were like, oh, this doesn't look great, right? Like, it's not just us. I don't know.
well,
Let's
it's just
test
because of
it."
his beady eyes and his weird human teeth. Yeah, I'm glad they made the changes because I love Sonic 3. Just not enough to put it in my top 5.
Enough Sonic. Let's go to our number 1.
All right, so let's go to our number 1. What you got? Go for it.
My number 1 is the same as yours, just because I can see your list. It actually comes out on digital tonight. I plan on watching it again. Wicked.
I agree.
Mhm.
It was no contest putting Wicked as number 1
No.
for mine.
It was like, as soon as we started making the list, I was like, oh yeah, that's my number 1.
It was my only 10 out of 10 review for the entire year. Well, movie-wise. We'll get to that. Check out the next video. But no, it was the perfect Broadway to screen adaptation. It was better than any adaptation I've ever seen. It was taking the original show, amplifying it for a broader audience without changing the show itself and its own identity.
For that review that we did,
go check that out.
we talked about how I had read the original book that the play was based off of, and you had seen the play.
You know the book, I know the musical.
Yeah, and we both left overwhelmingly pleased.
Yes.
Like, when does that happen?
And then we went back to see it. And then like, we bought it on New Year's Eve for $30, and it was worth every penny.
I mean, the movie's actually better than the book. And when does that ever happen?
Couldn't tell you. I can't read. But no, it was just... I was kind of nervous, honestly, when they cast Ariana Grande as Glinda. But
yeah, it was out of left field. But
after seeing it, I understand why they cast her, and I trust John Chu with my life.
I mean, she was perfect.
Yeah, I could not imagine anybody but Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande in these roles. I think they even outshined Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. And for me, that is insane because I cannot tell you how many times I've listened to the original Broadway cast recording.
Ariana Grande is so good at mimicry that
she's really good at impression.
I mean, you put those two singing next to each other and they sound exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cynthia Erivo she's ethereal. But Ariana Grande, I think that the biggest things that she brought to the movie, other than also being ethereal, her comedic timing.
Yeah.
And I think that she did a really good job honoring Kristen Chenoweth's version of Glinda, but also making it her own and amplifying it. Mm-hmm. And I keep using the word amplify to talk about Wicked because that's what it is. It's the show, but amplified in every single way. The casting was amazing. The music was amazing without changing it to be too poppy. In fact, Ariana Grande fought to make it not too poppy because they tried to suggest, I think it was Popular, to add more of a pop element to it. And Ariana Grande was like, no, I want to play Glinda. I don't want to be Ariana Grande playing Glinda.
Yeah.
And just almost like every choice that they made for that movie was the right choice. And you could tell that it came from such a place of love and hard work. And everybody was just dedicated to this movie. And oh my God, I can't wait until part 2. I just
had everything. I mean, you said it.
Yeah, I could talk about Wicked for days. So anything else you would like to say about Wicked?
I know. I think you covered it.
Yeah, as you can tell, I have talked about Wicked plenty. I got plenty in the brain. Also, wait, we didn't even talk about Jonathan Bailey. Oh my God, he did so good. I like his voice itself. It's more warm than the original Broadway cast recording. And to be honest, Fiyero is a character that I never cared about, and I always skipped Dancing Through Life. But now that is something that I love.
One. Like, that's one of my favorite songs from this movie. Which
it's a good choice. The Wizard and I is
I
superior,
also like how he moves during that, like the dance. I mean, it's just really flowy and
it's energetic, charming, and
spoilers for Wicked for the next movie.
How big of a spoiler? because we might not want that.
Okay, then never mind.
Okay, never mind. But yeah, that was our top 5 of 2024, top 5 movies anyway. If you want to know our top 5 TV shows of 2024, that one will also be posted around the same time as this video. And we will also, within the new year, be making and posting a video for our most anticipated projects of 2025. So as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, I don't know, say hi. Tell us in the comment section down below, what was your top 5 movies of 2024?
That's what I
What
wanna see.
movies are your honorable mentions, and what movies just disappointed you, but in a respectful way. But yeah, as for that, for Bleeding Rainbow Comics, I'm LJ,
And I'm Win.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.